Welcome to this week's HBCU Sports Monday on the Klown Hour podcast. I'm Scott Burks. Please check me out on www.theklowntimes.net. You see it right here. Klown spelled with K. And speaking of which, you're able to get the merch at cafepress.com. Search the Klown Time Sports. There's a link in the description along with other links I'll get to in a minute. So you find the gear there as well. You got to check me. You can also check me out on Facebook as well. So whether you're your smartphone, laptop, desktop, wherever you may be, just type in the Klown Time like that. Yeah, find me there as well. I've posted more. I've gotten pettier, if that's possible, with the NFL posts. So you might want to check that out. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. But anyway, just check me out there. You have some fun there as well. And last but not least, please continue to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Picked a few subscribers over the past week. Talking more about Coach Prime's departure and all other things HBCU athletics. We're going to get to obviously more this evening. So even if you disagree, feel free to comment back. We promise we'll be nice about our responses, even if we're a little bit petty. But either way, like if you agree, disagree, or indifferent, either way you comment, either way you share, either way if you like, either way you subscribe, you'll be glad you did, and I'll be glad you did. And yeah, so that's about it. I've gone through my housekeeping on my end pretty quickly. So anyway, since we're talking about HBCU sports, bringing my homie, y'all know him from the yards, that's HBCU Sports, wrestling for all things HBCU sports. This was Sleazy Riddle every Tuesday night on Facebook Live and YouTube. And last but not least, please check out his great work on herosports.com, where he writes about all things about FCS athletics as they pertain to HBCU sports. Those links will be in the description underneath this video as well on YouTube. Dwayne Nash is back in the house. He's going to bring some petty in a minute. So, how you doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing good. Getting adjusted, man. Scott, I'm actually on West Coast time right now.
Oh,
wow. Yeah, I just watched the sunset not too long ago before the show started, and out here enjoying this Cali life. Day one in terms of my holiday vacation.
So that's why your sister is out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. So you get to hang out with your little sister. That's dope.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So is mom's out there with y'all, or is just you two?
Oh, it's just the two of us. That means we're unchaperoned, and ignorance may be in abundance, but with the both of us being over a particular age, it may not be that bad.
Oh, that's hilarious.
We're already taking naps and attempting to heal up the soreness, muscle soreness. So yeah, we can't get but in so much trouble at this age. But
well, I may have asked you this in the past. Well, how I know you're the big brother, but what's the age difference between the two of y'all?
There's about a 3.5-year age difference between the two of us.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, cool, man. That's what's up, man. Get to hang with a little sister, and she'll blow up the spot on you like little sisters tend to do. Like what Little C said that in the song, blow up the spot like little sister. So there you go. Speaking of blowing up spot, let's talk about your time at the Celebration Bowl, man. I mean, I know you, and I know we have friends who cover HBCU sports who are out there, namely Jamie Walker. I think Mo Carter was out there, or at least I think he was.
So I don't know. I don't think Mo was out there. I didn't see Mo, but Mo, almost definitely Mo knows about the event. I will say this: being that the game is as big as it is, you might not find out that someone was there that you knew that you would love to have seen until like the day after.
Sure.
And then some instances you may have even walked past someone and not realize that you would walk past them because you're taking in all of the sights and everything that's going on, and you're just it's that much to take in during the game. But I will say this, in the press box, they do have assigned seats. And even though these two gentlemen weren't necessarily assigned to, and I don't even think I was in the right seat either, but either way, the three of us sat together. And it was cool for me. Last year, I was sitting next to Bill Rhoden of ESPN fame and also Morgan State alum. So, I was a little starstruck there, being that, I have spoken to him in the past. Actually saw him again this year at the press conference. But this year, my Celebration Bowl experience was heightened a little bit more. For those of you who are from the Greensboro area, most definitely lives there, not just in the Greensboro, but in the Triad area, and maybe even a little ACC action too, are familiar with Sam Crenshaw, who was a sportscaster there in Greensboro in the 80s and 90s, who is now living in Atlanta. He was sitting next to me. And also in between the two of us was one Stan Luter. So those of you who are big HBCU fans, you most definitely know Stan from his time covering the CIAA, on Aspire Network, and also the MEAC on ESPN, along with other conferences as well. And I've gotten a chance to know Stan throughout the years, and I literally had Stan sitting next to me, giving me free commentary for the game.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was conversational.
Yeah,
but it was as if he was commentating the game. He was letting me know what he thought would happen, and oddly enough, it did happen. But he was doing it as if he was commentating. For someone who was on his day off, it still felt like I was watching a game with Sam commentating. And I know Jay Walker and Tiffany Green knocked it out the box. I still have to watch the broadcast.
Oh, they did a hell of a job, especially Tiffany. Tiffany, I should might add. She's AK, but they both did a hell of a job on the call. They really did, especially that last score at the end of regulation. But yeah, that was dope. That was dope production all the way around.
Oh, most definitely, especially with this being Tiffany's first Celebration Bowl as the commentator.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah, because normally they would knock Jay off, and then they brought Jay in, and they had that weird year with Jay and Brittle Bob, and I forgot who the third guy was. But
he's actually done a good job with ESPN. He's actually done a good job.
I know, but he looked a little weird today, before the game tonight, wearing a hat that didn't match his outfit, but I digress. But to have those who brought you to the dance to actually be at the dance, and I mean Jay Walker and Tiffany Green with their commentary on ESPN throughout the years, it was wonderful to know that they were going to be the commentary team on this year's Celebration Bowl in such an epic Celebration Bowl. But again, I had the OG Stan sitting next to me. We're talking about things that were sports and things that weren't sports, while we're also talking about the game, man. And that was a wonderful experience as well. So shout out to Stan Luter, man. I had a wonderful time talking to him. And then, of course, as we already know, the game is like a reunion for HBCU journalists, HBCU sports journalists. So we all come down there, or those that can make it, and get a chance to speak to one another, say what's up to one another, especially those who aren't necessarily close to one another. And all we do is just see each other on the media calls and on social media. We finally get an opportunity to meet one another and say what's up and chop it up there. But it's always cool coming to the Celebration Bowl. And again, I wish the organizers of these basketball showcases, the HBCU basketball showcases that are held the same weekend as the Celebration Bowl, rethink that, please.
Yes.
Because us as HBCU sports media would love to be there to cover those events.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. You kidding me?
But if you're having a basketball showcase in Vegas while the HBCU football championship game is being held in Atlanta, I mean, unless you want us to have bigger staff, which would be cool for some of us, dude, it's not going to happen.
Right.
And I would have loved to have seen A&T and Texas Southern face off one another, and then A&T and Norfolk State playing yesterday. That would have been great, but it is what it is. But that just being in Atlanta again, being with not just the media, but with I was hanging out with the deputy AD of Delaware State, Kyle Adams, while I was down there. Just about every athletic director from both the MEAC and the SWAC, and even other conferences were there. Same thing with football coaches; they were all down there. So it was cool to just see those people outside of their normal element and enjoying this huge HBCU showcase that is the Celebration Bowl.
Yeah, and let's get to the Celebration Bowl, man. And how about this, man? For the ages, you talked about the awesome commentary Tiffany Green and our guy Jay Walker gave. I mean, you paired that with the actual game. Woo-wee. I mean, talk about ebbs and flows, man. I mean, Central going up 10-0, then Jackson State coming back, taking a brief lead, and then having they let at halftime, then having Central come back and reclaim the lead in the third quarter, and again in the fourth quarter after relinquishing the lead for a certain period of time. And then they have Travis Hunter, the number one. I don't care. He's not number two. The number one player led this past year's recruiting class make the game-ending touchdown reception, which was a thing of beauty. It was a great pass and an even better catch at the end of regulation. Awesome. Totally awesome. The play was awesome. I mean, both guys brought it. Both quarterbacks brought it. Of course, Shadir Sanders, 30 or 40 for 349 yards, 4 touchdowns. Davis, is it Rashard or Richard?
Rashard. Well, Richard.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it's Richard. It is Richard.
Okay, Davis Richard. He was a little meager passing wise, but he was on the ground as well. He ran in, he had to score on the ground as well. He was Mr. Do-It-All on offense. And it was a shame. I feel bad for the young man at Jackson State who dropped that pass, that 3rd and goal pass in overtime. Hit it right in his hands. Literally right in his hands, off the face mask, onto the ground. He felt really bad afterwards. He was crying at his locker. I feel really bad for the young man, which I think he may be entering the transfer portal. But anyway, that's not a here nor there. But the point is that what a great game. And Coach Prime's final game as Jackson State head football coach on his way to greener pastures at the University of Colorado. What a game with the Celebration Bowl. And, ESPN had to have loved that production on the field and in the.
Oh, most definitely. Like you said, this game was epic all around. From Jay and Tiffany doing commentary, to this game being the first one to go into overtime, with this being the highest attended. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and correct it because they keep saying it's attendance. But I didn't count the people, but the tickets sold 49,670, highest in Celebration Bowl history. So there were a lot of records broken on and off the field during that game, which makes this one an instant classic and arguably the best Celebration Bowl of all 7 of them.
Yes, and that's the thing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of Coach Prime's being his last game. But I think it was the play was just great. Yeah. It was a great play all the way around. Central brought it. We knew how good Central is, but not many people outside of the mainstream media, the casual fans, not only did not know how good they were, but a lot of them didn't know who NC Central was.
No, they did not.
Wow.
It's interesting that you say that, right? Because, first and foremost, the line on the game started at 17, with Jackson State being 17-point favorites.
Wow.
And it dropped down to 14. And I just kept saying that whole Saturday, man, I need to put money on this game. I need to put money on this game. Sure. There's no way in the world, in my eyes, that Jackson State was 17 points better than North Carolina Central. Did I pick Jackson State to win? Yes, I did. But I picked them to win with a field goal at the end of the game where, if they complete that pass in the end zone and send it in the double overtime, maybe that happens. But I digress. But yeah, you talk about all of that and the fact that Central coming into the game as underdogs. Central felt as though that they were underdogs all season long. If you listen to Trai Oliver, and it's something that he's been harping on, and I know it's been bothering him since the beginning of the season. he said that they weren't ranked in the top 10 of HBCU teams dating back to the beginning of the season, and he took that personally, and the team took that personally, and that was a chip that they held on their shoulders all season long, along with the fact that they were underdogs and big time underdogs, probably the biggest spread of any Celebration Bowl ever. And of course, the entire attention was on Jackson State, be it the perfect record, Coach Sanders moving on to Colorado, the potential transfers, will they be focused, this, that. The focus was completely on them. And Central knew it, and they and along with some other things that happened off the field as well. There was an event that happened earlier during the week where Jackson State had gotten there before them. They were allowed to Jackson State, that is, was allowed to get off the bus in front of the venue, while North Carolina Central, unfortunately, had to get out in the middle of the street and walk to the venue. They felt disrespected by that. They were told that they were going to be allowed on the field at a certain amount of time before the national anthem started. But Jackson State wasn't on the field yet, so they had to wait in the hallway until Jackson State was ready to go out on the field, and they had to wait 10 minutes in the hallway to do so. They felt disrespected by that. So there was a lot of stuff leading, even before getting to the Celebration Bowl, them not necessarily being picked to be in the top 10, them not picked to win in the conference, them winning the conference, and then all the stuff leading up to the game, and then the stuff happening game day. They felt as though that they were just coming in as Rocky, and they came in and they shocked the world.
They were treated as if they're ashy, huh?
Yes, they were. They went from ashy to classy in 4 quarters.
There you go. Quick. So let me ask you this, brother. You've seen your fair share of Celebration Bowls. I'm pretty new to the phenomena. I'm just not embarrassed to admit that. Better late than never. Do you think that this is the best Celebration Bowl ever? Recency bias notwithstanding, but do you think, from seeing prior Celebration Bowls, do you think this one lives up to be the best ever?
Well, I'm going to answer your question with a question. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm going to do a write-up this week on where I rank the Celebration Bowls. And I'm coming up with a metric, and I want to ask you to see if these should be metrics that will be taken into consideration when I'm ranking them. Okay. And also, what I'm asking you about these metrics, take into the consideration what we just saw on Saturday.
Right.
Amount of points scored. What do you think about that? Total points scored.
That could be it, because it measures excitement, right? Because you figure, like, what, 30, it was 41-34, so they went way over the over.
Yeah.
The over was 55 points. So so it was like, what, 75 points? No, 78 points scored. 78 points scored. That's a great metric. And you can use attendance too. Or tickets.
Yeah, you can most definitely use that. Yeah. The fact that the game went into overtime in the high scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
The ebbs and flow of the game in terms of scoring and lead changes. Well, lead changes is another one to take into consideration. What else would you say would constitute whether or not it's an exciting game?
Maybe penalties. Like you can use that to subtract at the end. Penalties, turnovers. You can subtract. You can add those two and subtract those. So those will be the negative metrics, if you will.
Got you.
Like afterwards, and yards gained, you can have yards gained. And then subtract that from the yards penalized.
Yeah.
And you could do it that way. So I would do this, man. I would have like total points scored. Add that to the number of yards gained by both offenses. Number of first downs gained total. Number of first downs.
That was what, 46?
Something like that. I don't have it in front of me, but something like that. You have like number of tickets sold.
That was the most ever, yeah. So that's anticipation for the game, yeah.
And subtract that from the total of number of penalties, number of turnovers, and number of yards penalized.
Yeah. And then of course, the closest, how close the game was.
Yeah. Margin of win, margin of victory.
Margin of victory, and along with that, you also have, was the game at what point in the game was it finally decided?
Yeah,
was it a blowout? Was it a late score at the end of the game? Things like of that nature. Just taking into consideration all of that. Now we've had some close games. For a while up until the 2019 and the 2021 Celebration Bowls, the average margin of victory was 4.5 points. And you could always look back to, even though I say it's more than just one play, there's always a series of plays that kind of dictate the Celebration Bowl or any game at all, well, as a whole. But if you think about some of those games, you had Tariq Cohen's late touchdown run in 2015. You had the blocked extra point in 2016.
Right.
You had the questionable pass broken up on the 2-point conversion against A&T and Alcorn in 2017. I'm sorry, 2017 was A&T and Grambling. 2018 was the pass breakup between A&T and Alcorn. And then, of course, you had the 2 blowouts with A&T and Alcorn in 2019 and South Carolina State over Jackson State in 2021. And then, of course, you had the overtime game with this one. So, yeah, there were several close matchups, but depending upon how you like your closeness, if you like defensive battles, maybe you think it's Central and Grambling. But if you like a high scoring close game, maybe you think it's this one that just happened this past weekend. But the debate is there, most definitely. It's really a matter of taste.
Right. And actually, I wonder, this lead up to our sponsor. Like, I wonder how many people bet on the Celebration Bowl, but those you did, hope you use BetUs.com. So, listen, sports bettors, your favorite sports book, BetUs.com, is back for our 20th year of NFL action. The industry's biggest sign-up bonus up to 200%. BetUs offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, UFC, and MLB. So if you're looking for live in-game betting, incredible odds, daily odds, boosters, props, and parlays, got it. How about fast payouts and exceptional one-on-one customer service? We got that too. So log into betus.com or call 800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BET-US. You can use the promo code TKT for the Klown Times as well. BetUS.com, where the game begins. I don't know if you caught this scene, man, at the end of the Celebration Bowl, but basically, Trai, the head coach of North Carolina Central, he was met by our former head coach, Sam the Man Washington, on the field. I don't know if you caught that or not. It was bandied about on social media. Washington gave Oliver a big hug, congratulated him. And I don't know if Oliver was doing this just out of adulation and pure joy upon seeing Sam Washington, but he was like, I'm not quoting him, but something to the tune of, "Why'd you come work for me?" Right. So there was, because they were both, Sam Washington was basically celebrating Trai Oliver. And I think Oliver would pick his brain in the past from time to time, I guess. They have a great relationship. It's apparent. Even though they used to coach at rival universities. Well, I thought that was a cool moment, even if Sam the Man Washington does not end up turning tail and going to such a. But I thought that was a dope moment at the end of a very dope game.
Well, I'll give it to you like this. Outside of having a great relationship with all of the coaches within the conference, because his other buddy, Buddy Pugh, was also at the Celebration Bowl on Saturday as well.
Okay.
But he most definitely has a great relationship with not only Sam Washington, but Rob Broadway, the 2 former head coaches at North Carolina A&T, because Trai was on the staff under Broadway and alongside Sam Washington.
Okay.
So, they most definitely have history together. That probably goes back, and I know Central fans out there are letting me know right now that history most definitely goes back further than that. But yeah, they all most definitely coached under Broadway, and Broadway was at the game too. You got to remember all of the winning Celebration Bowl head coaches, which is basically Broadway, Washington, and Buddy Pugh, all come back to the Celebration Bowl, and like you just said, or like I just said, they all have a wonderful relationship with Trai Oliver, be it coaching alongside him or coaching against him. And they all had wonderful things to say about Trai. They all have had wonderful things to say about Trai. But not only was it just an embrace after the game, Coach Washington was on the sidelines during the game.
Oh, wow.
And I actually tweeted out that picture with the message saying, fired on Wednesday by A&T, on the sideline Saturday with North Carolina Central. I actually walked past Coach Washington as I walked onto the field at the end of the game. So I was going onto the field while they were doing the trophy presentation. And on my way, I need to post a video. You can hear me saying hello to Coach Washington as he's walking past me. Again, one of those moments where if I'm not paying attention, I would have completely missed it. But yeah, he was there on the field. By the time I got on the field, you can see Coach Broadway congratulating Coach Oliver. And yeah, they most definitely have a relationship. And I'm going to go ahead and let Central fans know that a quarter of this win comes back to Greensboro. I'm just letting you know that.
Even though Oliver, he coached under Washington, he's an alum as well. No, he's an alum.
Oh yeah, well, he most definitely, but he also won a Celebration Bowl with A&T as well.
There you go.
As an assistant. So
hence that.
Yeah. So that, and their current defensive coordinator, it coached at A&T and is an A&T alum, and I think their DB's coach, Tony McCray, who used to play in the NFL with the Cincinnati Bengals, is also an Aggie. So yeah, there's a lot of A&T ties on this current Central staff.
That's wild.
That's
wild. That's wild. Enemies make sometimes policy. Well, in this case, they say policy, but in this case, sports make interesting and strange bedfellows, don't they?
Oh yeah, but it's also because a lot of them were Eagles at one point as well before becoming or working for A&T too, and vice versa. So a quarter of that win comes to Greensboro player.
There you go. And one more thing, what kind of sort of about the celebration, where we can lead to this next topic. You look at the success of the last few Celebration Bowls, right? And then you juxtapose that to the FCS playoffs, where the talk has always been among us HBCU family. Should we give more credence or make a higher priority to go to FCS playoffs, qualify and go to FCS playoffs, or go to the Celebration Bowl, send our champs to the Celebration Bowl? I mean, if you look at the numbers, we all love numbers. We've touched on the past podcast through Mo Carter especially, that you have to pay your own way in a sense to participate in the FCS playoffs. Now, looking at the Celebration Bowl, I don't know how much money comes out of the HBCU's pockets, but I know they get huge payouts through ESPN. There you go. They don't have to pay
absolutely none.
Nathan, as they say it out. Nothing.
Yeah.
And and
the money that does come out of their pocket, which in most cases is travel and lodging, is recouped through the winnings that they get from the Celebration Bowl. So
there you go. Out of the way they come. So basically, and again, looking at the success on ESPN, even though ESPN does cover the FCS playoffs as well, but the FCS showcase, I would argue, outside the championship game, is the Celebration Bowl. If you look at the ratings and the hype that's given to it, hell, I would argue that there's as much hype, if not more hype, given to the Celebration Bowl than there's the FCS championship. Which they have two. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's most definitely equal to, if not surpassing. The thing is, of course, with the Celebration Bowl being on ABC and the FCS playoffs, which normally happens that second week in January, happening on ESPN2 probably.
Yeah.
So you have difference in terms of exposures played in larger stadiums. So of course the numbers are already going to be skewed in most cases towards the Celebration Bowl as well. But like you said, man, it's funny that you say that because during during the press conference on Friday, both coaches were asked about the playoffs and which one do they believe is better. And of course, both coaches in lockstep said something similar in terms of, they don't have to come out of pocket for the Celebration Bowl. You get a purse with the Celebration Bowl. And then my favorite quote coming from Trey Oliver, you guys know who's playing on Saturday. Can you tell me who's participating in the playoffs right now?
Yeah, so basically I'll give you a list of who's participating in the playoffs. I got this list right here. I got this list from NCAA.com. They got the brackets out, FCS playoff brackets. Delaware, University of Delaware, St. Francis in Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, who Central dusted this year. I mean, blew them out at New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Fordham University, Holy Cross, South Dakota State, North Dakota State, University of Montana, which is a powerhouse, Southeastern Missouri State, Southeastern Louisiana, Idaho, and Samford University. Those are your participants.
And all of them are usual suspects.
Correct.
Who are the two teams that made it to the championship this year? South Dakota State and North Dakota State, right?
Correct. Conference rivals, conference arch rivals. Yes.
Yeah. And they were both semifinalists last year.
Correct.
With North Dakota State making it to the championship game. And then you named a bunch of other teams. You said Montana State, right?
University of Montana, yeah. University of Montana.
Oh, University of Montana. I believe Montana was in it last year. So was Holy Cross. So was Sacred Heart. Yep. Who else? Montana, like you said. Yeah. So there are tons of usual South Dakota. There are tons of usual suspects in this game. And it just doesn't seem as though that anyone other than teams from
and I got more. I missed some more. I'm sorry. Eastern Kentucky, Gardner-Webb, who beat A&T for the Big South title. Weber State, North Dakota, William & Mary, Montana State. So Montana State was in it. Emerson was. Furman, Elon University, which is future conference rival of A&T's. University of Illinois at the Whitewater, I think it is. Incarnate Word.
No, both Incarnate Word and UIW were in it.
No, I'm sorry. It's Incarnate Word. It's Incarnate.
Oh, just Incarnate Word. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Sacramento State and Richmond and Davis University. There's a conference.
Yeah.
So those are one.
These conferences will sound familiar, because they're in it quite often. The MVFC, the SoCon, the Big Sky, the CAA, usual suspects.
Correct.
Year in and year out, especially in recent years, usual suspects. And a lot of times they're the ones hosting these games. And they have the budgets to do so. HBCUs don't, with the average department budget being at around $10 million a year. And you're talking about asking to host a first round game at somewhere not starting, but close to 500,000 just to participate, not talking about travel costs and all that as well. If you're not hosting, versus the $1 million that you get from the Celebration Bowl, and then the additional money that the SWAC conference teams get for playing in the SWAC championship game. It would be smart if the MEAC would do the same. Hint, hint.
Right.
But I know there are a lot of people who are opposed to that because there are only 6 teams. But I'm like, dude, forget about them 6 teams and let's make this money. But I digress. When you're a conference of programs who are looking to do whatever they can to generate as much revenue as possible, and you participate in a bowl game that just does that, you're winning. Why would you even think about spending money to participate in the playoffs with a hope to go ahead and qualify for to host a home game, or just end up spending money to travel to potentially lose with the hopes of winning a national championship, which has been far and few between with HBCUs. We all know that the last time an HBCU won a national championship was 1979. Right?
Right.
And then, the last time a team was necessarily, it's been a while since an HBCU has been competitive. And people keep saying you need to go ahead and compete against these quality teams to get better and finally, eventually be capable of competing within the playoffs. But how long is that going to take?
Yeah.
Right? And then you're going to have to generate money in order to help this process along as well. Why go through all of that and continue to not win championships when you can go ahead and make money and win a Black national championship? Which one makes more sense to you?
Again, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So
no, I get it, and I know there are people out there who are complaining. Well, D Nash, you were complaining about the money that Deion Sanders took at Colorado. That's never been my complaint. So I want to make sure I get that right for you guys right now.
There you go. We both did not hate on Coach Prime for that move. We both did.
No, not at all. Not for the money aspect. Not at all.
Right.
But you're talking about programs that have been dealing with fiscal issues and still continue to deal with fiscal issues and just aren't financially on the same level as a lot of these teams that are participating on the FCS level. And you just want to go ahead and have a hope to win a national championship. We all know and understand that collegiate athletics is a business. And in businesses, you want to make money instead of losing money.
Correct.
And not only are you earning money or earning revenue from participating in the games and winning the Celebration Bowl, but your enrollment also increases too. So academically, your institution will get better too. So those are just benefits, most definitely, of participating in the Celebration Bowl that most definitely outweigh participating in the FCS playoffs. And I truly believe, with several conferences already having discussions about potentially having additional bowl games on the FCS level with the new NCAA,
I would love that. I would love that. I think most fans would love that too.
Yeah, and it would be interesting if that with this new NCAA president that they just brought in, if that ends up becoming a discussion on the FCS level, where they still have a playoff system, but have a bowl system so that these other institutions could attempt to generate revenue as well while participating in postseason play too, just like on the FBS level. Because that's in all honesty, those are the two reasons, in my opinion, why these teams and conferences are moving up to the FBS level. Is because they want that TV revenue and they want that bowl money. If there's a way that you can go ahead and try to compete with the bowl money on the FCS level, maybe that helps out with the TV money, and maybe that keeps those smaller programs from having to chase that FBS status.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. What I'm about to mention, have to be on another podcast another time. But that made me remind me of the SWAC commissioner's comments about earning as much money to rival some FBS conferences.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's thinking, but if he's thinking along those lines of, hey, the reasons for the Appalachian States in the past, the James Madison's in the past, the Coastal Carolinas in the past, you know where I'm going with this. The reason why they moved up is to get some of that bowl money. It's a money move to get some bowl money, because even if they're not participating in the college football playoff on the FBS level, they're still going to get those bowl checks.
Yeah,
as a conference, especially the Sun Belt. I mean, yeah. So basically, again, if the commissioner, SWAT Commissioner McClendon, if he's looking at that, which I'm sure he is, he seems to be a smart gentleman. If he's looking at that, again, that's another podcast for the time, but that's fascinating as hell.
Yeah.
That is fascinating as hell.
And I know a lot of people who are probably thinking that the Celebration Bowl is a one-off. They probably won't allow it to happen again. We don't know. We really don't know until you ask, right? Sure. And then if the right peoples ask, hint the Ivy League, and then if other conferences are saying that, you know what, this entire process, and we talked about this a few weeks ago, how the process of the current process of the FCS is a little janky. If enough conference commissioners say, maybe we want to do something a little bit different, and maybe we want to go into a potential bowl model while still doing a championship model too, just like the FBS does, but probably with more teams. If a smarter person can figure that out, I can see that as being a way of doing that with spending less money on scholarships and your staff members as well. So you don't have to go ahead and continue to try to increase, try to chase that FBS stream, which may be elusive to a lot of FCS programs fiscally.
Correct. So where can the good people find you on Twitter, my man, and all things social media?
You can find me just about everywhere on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at The Yard HBCU. And then, of course, you can find me with the work that I do with Hero Sports as it pertains to FCS HBCUs. And I'm still in the process of uploading pictures and video from the Celebration Bowl. You know, your boy's a little jet lag right now.
I bet.
Still getting adjusted to this West Coast time. While still working on East Coast projects. It's been hilarious. Today alone. So I'm waiting to see how things go for the next few weeks. But you can still most definitely catch me there. I will be releasing my top 5 takeaways from the Celebration Bowl. Again, like I said, with the ranking of the best Celebration Bowls of all time too. Look for those 2 articles within the next few days.
All right, brother. And y'all, please check out this man's great work. Those links will be in the description underneath this video when this gets uploaded to YouTube. So check him out there as well. Again, herosports.com, writes about all things FCS athletics and HBCUs. Sleazy Radio every Tuesday night on Facebook Live and YouTube. Check him out there. Last but not least, theyardhbcu.com, where writes about all things HBCU sports. And please continue to like, comment, and share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, to my videos. They're all over the place. Please be part of the family. You'll be glad you did. I'll be glad you did. www.theclowntimes.net is my website. I haven't updated in a while, but I promise you I'll get to it one of these days. And last but not least, get the merch at cafepress.com. Search for the Clown Time Sports. Thank y'all for tuning in to this podcast. Please stay warm. It's a winter storm coming across this nation this week. If it's not here already, depending on where you're at. Shout out to Buffalo, New York. Just stay safe, stay warm, take care until next time. Oh, by the way, this will be the last podcast for the year. I'm taking next week off. I'm going to just relax, recharge, and go all this stuff. I'll be coming at y'all next year after New Year's. So look out for your boy, because I'll be back. My man will be back, and we're going to have some friends too. So we'll all be back. So until next time, take care. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas and all good stuff. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah. Wherever you believe in, wherever you celebrate, happy for that. Blessings for that. Peace out.